Heard you guys wanted to hear about our unrestricted banlist deck for our Beerus deck that we played. Funny enough, when we heard about the event itself, it was the first deck that I wanted to play. You can ask any of the guys. And they all kind of, I think, shrugged me off or kind of didn't take it seriously. But at the event, it performed pretty well. Between Carlos and I, it technically went 9-1. Should have been 10-0. I made a misplay against Landon that would have made it 10-0. So we've been saying it's 10-0. Undefeated. So, all right, here we go. So first of all, we play the reboot Beerus leader. When I originally was thinking of the deck, the reboot leaders hadn't even been announced yet, so it was kind of cool to be able to put the updated card in it. Only changes up to the card are on the front side is that you can draw or destroy a creature when you attack, or battle card, excuse me. And then what's really cool about the card is that you can awaken at an energy count versus only a life count. And that helps you later when you're when you try to make your combos later and you charge wrong energy off of Hercule, you can restate energy and fix that. And I'll explain that when we get there. On the awaken side, the cool trigger effect about him is when you do damage, when your opponent is at 4 or less life, you can charge a card from your drop to your energy instead of doing damage. So you can charge energy and prevent your opponent from seeing more cards, getting closer to your win con, which is really cool. And then the big effect is tap 16 to win, which happened, I think, it was either 3 out of 5 matches or I think it was 3 out of the 5 that I played. Carlos did it, I believe, 4 times out of his 5 matches. So yeah, it can get there pretty easily. So all right, we'll start with the deck. We'll start with the extra cards first. Of course, we're going to play 4 of the flutes because it's one of the best cards ever printed. It allows you to bounce a card back to your hand, draw a card, so you can replay your cards over and over and over. There's a reason why it's banned. Because we ramp a lot and we want to put up a big defense. We played 4 Xeno buttons because we didn't want these to get charged and not see other ones. So I ended up playing 4 just to make sure I can play the wall defense. And I played 4 of the dimension magics. Just more defense, sparking, always good. All right. For battle cards, at the event, I didn't think Storm was going to be played at all, which it wasn't. I didn't see one Storm deck there. The one aggro deck I knew was going to be there that was making everybody scared was Mecha Frieza variants and any Shigesh type deck. So I was thinking to myself, I'm like, what can we do to prevent losing to that deck? Well, of course, we ended up playing 4 Chronoas. Instantly shuts down the deck. It shuts down the turn 2 victory strike. It shuts down the 1 turn kill. It shuts down any of those decks. I was thinking to myself before the tournament, right before the event, I had 4 in there and I said, I don't think that's enough. So I ended up squeezing in 2 Tokis as well. So we were playing 6 Chronoas. And I ended up seeing it every opening hand. There was no way we were losing to yellow decks. So no Shigesh. For the main card of the deck, we ended up playing 4 of the Hercule Thinks He's the Best. Why that card is so good is because, and it's so good and unerrated, is because the 2 effects printed on this card are separate from each other. You do not have to trigger the first effect with a Majin leader. You only have to you can choose to only have the second effect work, and which is ramping 2 cards off the top of your deck into your energy. So on turn 2, you can play him, you can charge 2, and if you have another one in your hand, you can just play another one and another one if you'd like, depending on how many you have. Or you can play flute, put it back in your hand, and keep going as many times as you can. On turn 2, you can have 8 energy, 10 energy. Just depends on how you draw it. But that's the heart and soul of the deck for that card. Then as far as trying to abuse that card and trying to get there, I played 2 Son Goku the Rescuer, which is only in here basically so that you could warp it from your drop, put Hercule back in your hand, and keep going into that combo some more. I played, which I thought was my favorite card in the tournament, was the Kibito-Kai's Attendant. It costs 2. You can tap it, and you can return a battle card to your hand. I believe you can return a battle card of your opponent's to their hand as well, but that's not really relevant at all. It's just the fact that you can play him, you can put Hercule back in your hand, and keep going some more. I played 3 of the Unyielding Spirit Trunks. This card is actually super important in the deck because with Hercule it ramps 2 random cards. So sometimes you can ramp energy exhaust cards or cards that are off color from blue because he requires 1 blue. Then you can swing in with your leader. You can play Unyielding, give yourself 1 blue back, and go keep going and comboing as hard as you can. I played 4 of the Uneasy Alliance Son Goku, the draft box 4 negate. The card is just super solid. It's a 2-cost negate, and then also can bounce Hercule back to your hand when you play him. You can even, I believe, bounce him back to your hand on your turn as well if you just play it. A lot of this deck revolves around how many different ways can I put Hercule back in my hand. And I just ran with that idea. My favorite card, I think, of the entire event that kind of caught people a little off guard, only because people didn't realize it was errated, was I played the Android 21, the Beautiful, out of the starter deck, the blue-green card. This card doesn't have energy exhaust printed on it. So on turn 1, you can charge this as an active blue-green, or if Hercule charges it off the top, it comes out in active, which is actually super important to the deck because you need to have blue-green for the cool combos in this deck. I played just out big cards. I played 2 of the UI Goku from the draft box. It came up, I believe, 1 time at the tournament, but other than that, I don't know. It didn't, at that event, it wasn't really needed for me, but I'm going to assume more or less than not, with as much energy as you have, you want to have those in the deck, just because you don't know what's coming. This is where it gets less casual friendly, but I played 4 of the Son Goku Childhood Ape, the Draw 2. This deck can have a hard time maintaining hand size at times, so you need to be able to draw your extra cards off of your ape. It was a lifesaver all day, and it kept me ahead since I never really did anything to out aggro my opponent and give them extra cards. It's funny enough, this deck I usually had a bigger hand size than my opponent all day. And then I played the Secret Rare Vegeta, the SS4. This card's just super good. It's a ramp 2 on your opponent's turn, or you can kill him on your turn as well, which was an option. The 3 of those games I actually attacked my opponent to death versus actually using the 16 energy. But that's because the last card I'm going to say, because it was my favorite play of the day. I played the Healy's Super Combo, the green one for the gods, because it's green and you need blue-green in this deck to be able to rival your secret rare. Yeah. And my favorite card in the deck that ended up winning me almost all my games, basically hands down, is I played 2 Violent Predators. So the combo and the cool thing about this deck is on turn 2, if you get to 8 energy and you go to your next turn, you can, when they have their 2 or 3 energy up, you can hard cast Violent Predator and put them down to 0, and you are sitting at 8 to 10 energy, and there's usually no way that they can come back from that. And what you end up doing is you play Violent Predator, and you can play a card like Kibito-Kai, and you can continue to put that back in your hand, and just do it every single turn. You can do it every single turn. And so when people saw that come down, they saw Violent Predator bounce all their stuff back, then they'd see on the next turn Kibito get dropped, and it was just, you could just see the look of disgust in their face. But yeah, that's the simple deck. The deck looks super simple. It's super strong. Yeah, you can always test hand it yourself, try it out, but the deck didn't drop a game. I spent a lot of time tweaking ratios and all that kind of stuff, and I feel like as far as a Beerus list goes, it was pretty solid, and it wasn't going to lose to Mecha Frieza, so that was my victory for the weekend. Yeah, I would say if you're going to go to a band restricted tournament, that this is probably a deck you should take. It does have some weaknesses, of course, as every deck does, but I would say it's probably the second best overall deck to the ban errata tournaments. First being a Mecha Frieza deck that was down there, that was on our team. Make sure to like and subscribe, and look out for new content. Comment below if you want to see anything new or any other ideas for the channel.